I saw something going to the other side in there, like a mist. Hello? No. Dude! Fuck!
I came across this story on a YouTube channel called Adventure Outdoor, and honestly, it plays out like something straight out of a horror film. He set out early in the morning on the North York moors. The mist was so thick, even his truck faded into the fog. His plan was simple: ride the ancient Rutland Rig Road, cross the old railway line, and loop back before dark. But the deeper he went, the more unsettling things became. The mist refused to lift. Landmarks disappeared. At one point, he reached an old stone marker dated 1888, where he stopped to eat. But the silence around him wasn't natural. It felt heavy, as if he wasn't alone. Later, he arrived at Anno Cross, built on top of a Bronze Age burial mound. Locals say artifacts and bones were found there. He thought about camping, but even he admitted he'd be too terrified to try. Some paths on the moors feel ancient, guarded, and maybe not meant for the living.
What I'm standing on is a Bronze Age burial mound. I was reading about it online. I think they found Bronze Age artifacts and that here as well. Keep thinking about coming and camping here, but I ain't gonna do it on my own. Terrified.
But what do you think? Would you spend the night on a burial mound? Here's another strange encounter that will leave you questioning everything. Ghostier, a YouTuber best known for sharing his frightening and chilling encounters, uploaded this video. In the quiet town of Willow Creek, an old barn stands among the cornfields, its shadow long, its reputation darker. Locals whisper about missing children, strange noises, and an evil presence said to linger inside. Tonight, they went in. The deeper they drove, the heavier the air felt. A crumbling house appeared, its windows like hollow eyes watching them. The barn sat behind it, massive, silent, and terrifying. The kind of place that feels alive, even in stillness. Inside, it was worse. Pitch L-back halls. Floors are ready to give way. Whispers of knocks, footsteps, and shadows. At one point, a mist-like figure drifted past the stairs, clear as day on camera.
I saw something going to the other side in there, like a mist. Hello? Like literally right behind the stairs, right here, that door. Oh my God, please. I hopefully I did.
Did you catch on?
Yes.
Was it human or something else? The further they explored, the stranger it became. Objects moved on their own. A child's name, Jenny, appeared on the wall, then echoed through the spirit box.
Oh my God, what you said? You said Jenny?
Jenny.
Come here. Look.
Yo, no
Jenny.
way.
Yo, now that is creepy.
No way. Look, it's had a hard life. But look, it says Jenny.
Yep.
Right here.
Dude, Jenny P. Oh,
No way.
Is that
dude.
coincidence or what, bro?
No way.
Jenny, this is your room, your bathroom, whatever this was? It has to be a little kid.
That's when they knew they weren't alone. That was it. They had to leave. Whatever haunts this place didn't want them there. And trust me, after what they saw, I don't think anyone should come back. But if that shook you, the next encounter might haunt your dreams. Arms Family Homestead is one of those YouTube channels that feels easy and comforting to watch. Most of the time, it's about country living, fishing, hunting, and the simple outdoors. In this particular episode, Daniel, the dad, takes his son Houston out for a hunt on their own land. Nothing intense, just father and son time in the woods. At first it's calm. They're quietly watching deer move through the trees, enjoying the peace. But that quiet doesn't last long. Out of nowhere, two men with rifles step onto Daniel's private property. They aren't just trespassing, they're sneaking up, trying to take a shot at the deer right in front of them. Then, a gunshot rings out. The bullet misses the deer, but passes so close to Daniel and his son that the danger becomes very real.
Mother.
You stay here. Hey! You better run, you piece of crap!
Daniel jumps up, confronts the strangers, and they immediately bolt, crashing through the woods. It could have ended tragically, but luckily, both father and son walked away safe. What happens next is the kind of thing that keeps people awake at night. The YouTuber Rice and Beans Adventures shared a chilling encounter he experienced while out camping. Morning was supposed to feel calm, but instead, it carried the weight of last night's horror. The YouTuber admitted that last night was rough. A sudden windstorm ripped through camp, snapping the tent's legs like twigs. They tried fixing it, but by midnight, everything was in ruins. Chairs blown away, the campsite destroyed. With no shelter left, they crawled into the back of the truck, just the stars above, and the howling wind. Imagine lying there, in the vast emptiness. Every sound outside could be something moving in the dark. He says he eventually fell asleep.
14 hours to get here, set up camp, and then a windstorm come in and decimate it. So the drive took a little bit longer because we ended up stopping at the Prada store in Marfa, and then a couple of art installations nearby. It's let me look up the name. I'll let you guys catch the sunrise too.
But really, how do you sleep knowing your camp has been torn apart, and the desert night hides things you can't see? That storm wasn't just rough, it was terrifying. And maybe he didn't tell us everything that happened out there. Things take a darker turn in the next clip I came across. This video comes from Midwest Ghost Hunter, well known for capturing some of the scariest investigations online. This time, he's in Wisconsin, heading toward an abandoned factory with a dark reputation. Locals whisper about endless paranormal activity inside, shadows that move, voices that answer, doors that slam without warning. And tonight, he's stepping into that place completely alone. He pushed through the tannery's yawning doors and felt the air change, a pinprick of cold that crawled up his spine. Every footstep echoed like a warning. He felt a pressure brush his back, his breath hitched, and the darkness answered with a whisper that wasn't human. Doors slammed shut by themselves. Mannequins began to rock and slide without touch, staring with glass eyes that knew his name.
What? That door just shut. Oh, oh no. Oh, no. I am not going to be stuck in here. Please. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
From the black beneath the catwalks, a cart rolled out on its own, creaking like a funeral march. Props flew off tables as if invisible hands had grown bold.
If there's anyone over here, could you... What the hell was that? It sounded like something moved over here. Did you just move one of these mannequins? Could you move one right now? Any one of these. No. Oh. Dude! That thing just freaking started rocking! Oh, no. Are you freaking serious?
Would you step into that maze when the lights flicker and things move without touch? Things only grow darker from here. Brace yourself for what comes next. This chilling video comes from Harry Chris Rain, a YouTuber well known for sharing his eerie camping adventures in the rain. He set out to camp deep in the forest, and at first, everything felt perfect. Calm air, fresh breeze, just the kind of weather that promised a peaceful night. He began pitching his tent, believing it would be a simple, relaxing trip. But then the skies shifted, the wind grew sharp, and raindrops started to fall, soaking the ground beneath his feet. He stayed. He finished mounting his tent in the pouring rain, determined to stick it out. Later, when the storm finally eased, he thought he could enjoy his camp. He made dinner, sat down to eat, and suddenly, the rain returned, heavier than before. Imagine sitting there trapped in darkness, every sound of the forest drowned out by relentless water hammering the canvas above your head. All through the night the storm raged, and he sat in that tent alone, cold, and listening to every creak of the woods around him. Could it have been just the weather? Or was something else hiding in the storm, waiting for him to close his eyes? What happens next is the kind of thing that keeps people awake at night. This video was uploaded by Camper Vibe, a channel run by two girls who share their love for camping, but this time, only one of them decided to head out to this place, alone. This video begins with her searching for peace after the relentless weight of the holidays. She heads to Daring Woods, a stretch of forest she thought would offer quiet solitude. But little did she know, this woodland lies just outside Pluckley, Britain's most haunted village, which holds the Guinness World Record for having over 14 known ghosts. The camp is set, just before the skies grow darker. Dinner seems simple enough, but the forest begins to whisper. Then, strange noises echo. Some sound like children screaming, others like gunshots, and she can't explain where they're coming from. The owls fall silent, and the woods take on a heavier tone. Then it happens, a sound drifts through the trees, unnatural. Not deer, not fox, not anything she recognizes.
Fire anyway. Sounds like kids screaming. That's just a train. Is it a bird or is it kids screaming? That's a bird. That's a gunshot. I don't know if you'll be able to hear a lot of this, it's pretty distant, but it sounds like kids screaming. There's so many strange noises. It's not just your normal birds and stuff and planes, there's a lot of planes. There's like this weird, well, I don't really know how to describe it, but I'm tired, so I'm going to let this burn out in a bit, sit here and enjoy a fire for a little while and then, yeah, head to bed. The hammock's really comfy, thank God, so I should sleep well, I would think. Where's my big bean? What was that noise?
After some time, she swears it's footsteps circling the tent. She doesn't dare turn on the light, terrified it isn't an animal, but a person. The night drags on. Every second feels endless, and she admits it's the most scared she's ever been in a tent. After she later discovered the horrifying truth, the woods where he spent the night are known as Screaming Woods, where anguished cries echo through the trees. Paranormal tours are hosted here. Ghost hunters have filmed here, and the number of hauntings has earned it a permanent record in history. From eerie to bone-chilling, this next clip drags us even deeper into fear. Grizzly Gaz, a well-known wild camper whose page is dedicated to sharing his camping adventures, posted this chilling experience. He strolls into the woods on a school night, joking at first. Rumor has it pagans meet here. He finds a clearing that looks like a ritual site. It gives him the chills, but he decides to camp anyway. His tent is up. It's pitch black. The forest closes in. Then he decides to go for a walk when he sees a tree that looks like a skeleton.
Oh, it doesn't half look creepy down here. Tree looks like a skeleton, and we're all like bivvies in it and stuff.
The shadows begin to breathe. Then, after some while, he notices some voices and sounds in the trees. He knows he's not alone. The footsteps, whispers, someone circling the campsite terrified him.
I hope there's no widow makers following us. That'd be no good, would it, mate? Oh, dear. Look at this pillow. Oh, fuck! 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 Fucking hell. Where the fuck? Fendi! Fendi! Come here, mate. Oh, you're alright. What the fuck was that? Fucking flies. Mate, come on.
He decides to turn off his light immediately. Then he decides to pack up. But as he gathers gear, the woods erupt. Dozens of distant voices scream and thunder toward the tent. Who are those figures racing through the trees? A prank, hunters, or something older? A ritual that didn't want witnesses? This person went hiking deep into the wild when he unknowingly found himself face to face with a bear. But this wasn't just any bear. It was a mother, and somewhere nearby, her cubs. In an instant, the bear attacked, knocking this person backward while he screamed so loudly in fear, straight towards the edge of a cliff. With nowhere to run, he fought for his life, clinging to the rocks as the bear attacked. Every second was like the last one. Every wrong move could have been a tumble to death. What would you have done in that split second face to face with a furious bear, high on a cliff, with no means of escape? Experiences such as this don't scare you just once. They haunt you for life. This man took a leisurely drive through the bush, then catastrophe hit. A leopard leapt onto his vehicle in the blink of an eye, and he was confronted with unadulterated raw power. No windows, no doors, nowhere to hide. Imagine being inches away from a predator built to kill. Do you stay perfectly still? Do you try to scare it off? Or do you pray it loses interest before it decides you're the next meal? Times like these aren't just frightening, they linger with you for good. Because after you've made eye contact with the wild, you never quite view the world in the same manner ever again. It was late at night, the forest was quiet, the air heavy, and this person walked under nothing but a flashlight. Then, right down the middle of the road stood a moose. Not that huge, not a sound. Its eyes glowed when the beam of light hit it. For a moment, it did not move, and then suddenly it sprang ahead. Pounding with excitement, this person retreated, until the moose turned around and moved back, finally dissolving into the darkness.
Hey, bud. I need to go. Hey. Oh fuck, Alter.
This person was so scared of the moose. What would you have done if it weren't one moose just standing there, but several? What will be your next move? Run or just disappear? This person walked up a path in Banff, when out of nowhere, a grizzly bear appeared. At first, it was just wandering, then it started coming straight at him. Step by step, the enormous bear just kept coming. No roars, no growls, just silence and bulk.
Still follow me, but you gotta remain calm and don't run. Have the pepper spray at the ready. You stop for.
He was terrified, edging back slowly, knowing that one wrong step would kill him. The bear followed for 5 agonizing minutes, until finally, it disappeared down a stream. What would you do if there was a grizzly charging straight at you with nowhere to run? Could you stay calm, or would you let fear overwhelm you? Because out there in nature, sometimes the scariest thing is silence. Deep in Madagascar stands an ancient giant, the baobab tree. But this one is unlike any other. Look closely. Doesn't it seem to have naturally taken the shape of a shivling? This lady, standing at its base, was completely blown away. Imagine walking into the forest and stumbling upon a living monument sculpted by time itself. For centuries, locals have called baobabs the tree of life. But what if this one is more than that? A symbol? A message? A mystery carved by nature? What do you think? A coincidence? Or something divine? He had gone hiking when he stumbled upon something strange, a hidden entrance shrouded in the midst of the forest. Curiosity took the better of him, and he ventured in. What he found was terrifying.
Staircase that took me into this small room that had an entrance leading into what looked like a tunnel. At first I thought this might have been an old mine, but as I got deeper, things started to get strange. The rough rock walls turned to smooth concrete, and the tunnel soon split into a maze of passageways with small rooms along the way. Some of the doorways actually still had wood on them, which means this place wasn't abandoned that long ago. Then I found another staircase that led even further down, and things got even creepier from here. The quality of the tunnel suddenly improved, and soon I came across this large hole in the ground that led down so deep that I couldn't see the bottom. So what do you think this place was, and why was it abandoned?
Narrow passages, rock stairways deeper and deeper into the earth. The air grew colder, the silence is thicker. At the bottom, the discovered doors lead into empty rooms, left behind, forgotten. But the stairs didn't stop there. He went down further into the darkness. This person couldn't force themselves to go beyond this point. Who built this facility? Who used to live here when it was left behind to decay? And most importantly, why was it hidden so well? Would you risk going on with the chance that you never could? The Whaley House in San Diego isn't just history, it's horror. Built on the graves of prisoners, it's been branded one of the most haunted houses in America. Visitors tell of footsteps echoing through empty rooms, doors slamming with no cause, and whispers that chill the skin. Some swear they've seen figures, angry, violent, waiting in the shadows. But why place a family home on top of a burial ground? Could the spirits of the condemned still be reaching for revenge, clawing at the living for recognition? If so, what do they want? Fear, justice, or something darker? Would you step inside after dark, knowing its story inspired a film? Or would you keep your distance, haunted by what might be watching? This man walked deep into the woods when he noticed movement in the trees. Little bear cubs were climbing and playing as if nothing mattered. Then, just a few feet away, stood their mother, a massive bear still observing, guarding. In that instant, fear paralyzed him. We all know the most lethal thing out there isn't a predator circling. It's a mother protecting her kids. What would occur if this man got too close to the cubs? If the bear believed, at least for a split second, that her cubs were under threat, would she charge blindly? Could anyone possibly outrun such a force? One wrong step in that timber, and curiosity could have cost this person everything. This forest is hands down one of the most terrifying places this person has ever been. The road leading in was narrow, just a single dirt path swallowed by endless trees. Branches hung overhead like skeletal arms, closing in tighter with every step forward. As the headlights cut through the darkness, strange noises echoed from deep inside the woods. Twigs snapped, whispers carried on the cold night air, and yet, not a single soul could be seen. If you were the one, would you keep driving down a road like this, knowing you couldn't turn back? What would you do if something stepped out in front of you, blocking the path? Because once you enter a place like this, the forest decides if you leave. In upstate New York stands the infamous Enslin House, a haunted landmark that has chilled visitors for generations. One evening, a lady and her friends decided to join the haunted tour, but what they discovered inside went far beyond ghost stories.
That's not. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What is that, Rick? Watch.
Yeah, keeps going. Ooh.
So there's a vibration. So there's a vibration in the water down below. Like, what is that? You gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. There's a second hole. There's tunnels underneath the Einslin house.
Smaller room. So there's a room under there. There's no animals in the room. Under. Oh shit. Yeah, man. Oh boy. Little one, but it's there. Oh yeah, see? Yeah. Big one, like a room.
Hidden beneath the creaking floors, they stumbled upon not one, but two small wells inside the house itself. Dark, cold, and eerily quiet. These wells seemed out of place, almost as if they were never meant to be found. Why would anyone build wells inside a house? Were they used for water, or something far more sinister? Could these hidden wells be the reason the Enslin house is haunted? This man spotted a deserted farmhouse, its windows shattered, doors rotting, and secrets silently weighing on the air. Curiosity getting the better of him, he entered. Floors creaked, dust danced around, and an eerie sense of being observed lurked in each nook. He walked through the haunted rooms finally stepped out, relieved it was over. But then he was filming the house from across the street, and he saw it. In the large front window, a dark shape coalesced. It didn't move as light would. It didn't resemble dust. It resembled a face. What did you assume it was? A ghost still haunting the farmhouse, or an individual secretly living inside? And the question of the moment, would you ever even go back in after seeing that? They stumbled upon an old home, rotting where it rested. The walls splitting, windows shattered, stillness suspended as a threat. Curiosity won out. The moment they entered, their breath was held. Inside was devastation. Chairs tipped over, paint stripped away in strips, dust that was as thick as mist. It looked deserted for decades, yet it did not feel abandoned at all. Whispers were in the air, shadows shifted as if on their own. Imagine finding out too late the house wasn't empty, but waiting. What disaster tainted these walls? Why did it get left to rot? And worse still, did the people who lived here ever truly leave? Or are their eyes still on every trespasser watching, waiting for the next to come in? High above the world, one person sits on the edge of a mountain cliff, legs dangling, heart racing. Below, a sea of trees stretches endlessly, their tops swaying like waves in the wind. The view is breathtaking, but so is the drop. Would you dare sit here, knowing one slip could send you falling into the forest far below? Could you steady your breath with nothing but empty air beneath your feet? Imagine the sound of rocks tumbling as your shoes scrape the edge. Would you lean forward for a better view, or cling to the ground behind you? Is this peace or danger disguised as beauty? Would you risk it, just for the thrill? This person went hiking in a mountain where snow crunches beneath each step as the mountain looms in the dark. Walking in the dark is another thing, colder, thicker, almost alive. The trees are silent sentinels, and the wind cuts through the stillness with a haunting edge. Would you venture forth, knowing the trail vanishes in the dark? What if you heard the sound of footsteps following you, but there was no one there? Could you trust the silence, or would every sound make your heart miss a beat? Alone in the middle of nowhere in Bulgaria, a camper suddenly froze as a chilling sound ripped through the night.
What the fuck?
It wasn't just one cry. It sounded like multiple people screaming at once, echoing through the endless dark forest that surrounded them for miles. But the place was supposed to be deserted. Later, when they shared the experience online, people suggested it might have been a fox, a lynx, maybe even a jackal. Though others hinted at something far darker, old legends whispered about those very woods. Whatever it was, the camper wasn't about to stick around to find out. What began as a peaceful afternoon under the beauty of a Utah waterfall nearly turned into tragedy. Without warning, large boulders sheared off and fell into the pool, narrowly missing 2 children by a matter of inches. Only seconds before, they were laughing and playing, unaware of the danger looming above them. The impact sent waves and chaos through everyone who was nearby, changing peacefulness to panic in a matter of seconds. Isn't it frightening how quickly the serenity of nature can turn into a disaster? And what would you do if you saw disaster land exactly where you were standing? Sometimes survival is measured in inches. The mountains can be tranquil, but they can also roar without notice. What was meant to be a dreamy honeymoon adventure quickly turned into chaos. 2 trekkers on Mount Etna found themselves caught in an eruption. The ground trembled without notice, and the volcano burst with massive clouds of ash and scorching pyroclastic flow down the mountain's side. There were also panicked hikers fleeing for their lives, the lovely trail now an infernal path of retreat.
Kanon. Wow, dit is wel heel heftig. Man, dit is niet normaal.
No one was hurt, thankfully, but the terror in their faces spoke volumes. Can you imagine being trapped on that mountain with fire chasing you? Would you freeze in shock or run until your legs couldn't move you anymore? Nature's beauty can turn to terror in the blink of an eye. What was to be a fun trek quickly turned into a mud-covered disaster. These two ladies set out on a dangerous expedition on a rainy day without knowing what they were in for. The path instantly turned into nothing but gooey, slippery mud. One got stuck, hysterically laughing as she tried to free herself. Her friend reached out to help, but instead fell and slid straight down the muddy hill. What was supposed to be a peaceful walk became a silly, dirty struggle they'll never forget. Have you ever had a trip go awry in such a quirky way? Would you laugh it off and continue or quit right there in the mud? It began as an innocent family stroll that turned into an icy memory they'll never forget. The woods were still, the trees motionless, until one of the kids froze, pointing at the trees. Something was staring back at them. Its shape was hard to make out, but its existence was certain. Trembling hands grabbed their camera and pressed record. What they captured continues to leave things to this day. Was it a beast, an ill shadow, a vision, or something worse? If you were present, would you go in and attempt to discover the answer? Or would you leave immediately? And what do you think was standing by watching them that day? The most frightening things are the things that won't turn away. He entered the haunted house with nothing but his hunting gear, thinking it was another adventure. But then things changed. Strange sounds resonated from everywhere, doors slammed shut on their own, and shadows dispersed on the walls. His heart pounding, fear gripping him tighter with every step.
يا جماعة ما تلاحظون ان هذه كلها تتحرك كل هذه كلها بسم الله لا اله الا الله اعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا 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 لا, لا يا جماعة لا 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 يا جماعة أنا ماني قادر من ريحة الكلب والله العظيم أنتم عجزكم الله خلاص لا إله إلا الله أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق لا 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 والله العظيم ماني قادر من الريحة يا جماعة استغفر الله ربي وأتوب لا إله إلا الله.
Was he alone? Or was someone waiting for him in the shadows? What do you do if you find yourself trapped in such a situation? Do you hide, flee, or confront the unknown? In haunted places, it's not the silence you fear, it's what breaks it. His head twitched, trying to track the whispers that traveled the air in the haunted house. Every corner pulsed, every shadow lived. And then, he froze. The door creaked open, and there was two glowing, unnatural eyes trained straight on him. His chest tightened. Trick of the mind or something far more sinister? Demon pants, staring unblinking, as if waiting for him to make the first move. What would you do if you were directly in front of something non-human? Would you scream, run away, or attempt to fight it? This family was walking along the forest trail, kids laughing, parents inhaling the crisp, pea air, when suddenly, all movement stopped. One of the children was motionless, pointing down the path. Out of the bushes, a leopard came onto the trail. Still, muscles tense, looking at them. The forest that had felt so secure just minutes earlier now felt like a trap, each passing second feeling like an eternity. The family held its breath, hearts pounding, unsure whether to move forward or remain frozen under its piercing gaze. What would you do if a predator blocked your path, stood your ground, or risked running? Do you think the leopard was hungry, curious, or protecting its territory? Sometimes the wild reminds us we are not the top of the food chain. The mountains are beautiful, but beauty is a deceitful thing. What started as a tranquil glacier trek had turned into a nightmare within the blink of an eye. This mountaineer, trekking through the snowy hill, lost his balance quite suddenly. Within a split second, he was sliding down the icy slope with no control over his move, his life flashing before his eyes. Just when hope was going to be doused, he was yanked to a stop by a sharp rock. His heart was racing as the quietness of the snowy landscape enveloped him. Suppose the boulder had not been there. Might he have survived the deadly drop underground? Would you ever risk going out alone into such savage country? Nature doesn't forgive mistakes. It simply reminds us who's in control. The woods are never silent. Sometimes they watch. This guy was enjoying a quiet night hike when suddenly an arrow struck the tree right beside him. With his heart pounding, he took off, only to hear another whistle through the darkness, landing dangerously close. The quiet night had turned into something awful. Someone or something was hunting him. Who is hiding in the darkness shooting those arrows? Is it a man or something far more sinister guarding the woods? Would you run further into the forest or stand your ground if it were you? And most of all, why is he being stalked to begin with? Sometimes in the dark woods, predators don't always have claws. Sometimes they aim. It was a usual quiet afternoon when this girl decided to go for a walk in her mom's backyard. Suddenly, she noticed something unusual, a tiny hole in the ground. Out of curiosity, she stuck her phone in it with the flashlight on, and what she discovered was stunning. An underground cave room-sized, 4 corners and walls that appeared to be carved as done intentionally. But here's the question: who did it? And why would anyone create a hidden room beneath a backyard? Was it a secret hideout at one time? A bunker no one recalled? Or something sinister that history tried to cover up? If you found something like that, would you go in or seal it forever again? It was supposed to be a normal forest drive, but for this biker, it might have been his last. Deep in the forest, he heard a cave with strange sounds coming from within. Curiosity pulled him closer, but fear stopped him from going in. He turned back and tossed something into the darkness, only to have it tossed back towards him. That's when fear got the better of him.
Bro, is that my fork? What? Hello?
No.
It's like a trail just leading me. That was a bone I just broke. Why is that?
Help.
Hello? What the hell? Bro, I don't care about my bike. Hello? Is anybody there? I don't know, dude. Am I just hearing things? Hello? What the Yep, nope, I'm good. Not the way I wanted to go. Oh, I gotta get back to my bike. Crap.
And he ran as fast as his legs could carry him, running for his life. But what was in the cave, you ask? A skinwalker, maybe? Something otherworldly? Or the woods having a joke played on no man can ever decipher? Would you go in if you were me, or walk away for good? Not every cave contains shad. Some contain secrets it's best to leave unsaid. Driving alone in the woods at night is creepy enough. But imagine this. Headlights on the trees, and suddenly something appears on the road. It resembles a butt with a pig's snout. Not quite human, not quite beast. The man in the driver's seat bristled, gripping the steering wheel tighter. His racing heart didn't dare to go to make a move, just fixated as this strange creature stood between him and the darkness, staring right back at him. But what did he actually see? Was it a new creature, a shifter, or something worse? If you were him, alone, in the dark of night, would you stay in the car, drive on through, or risk getting out? Not all monsters are mythical. Some sneak up behind us when we least expect them. Brian, a seasoned paranormal explorer, decided to spend the night near an abandoned cemetery on the outskirts of Amsterdam, an eerie place locals whispered about, known only as the House of Question. As he wandered between the tangled weeds and forgotten headstones, his EMF reader began spiking wildly.
I got really strong hits. I got a word, and it said deem. I'm not sure what it means by deem. But I had a couple strong hits on the EMF reader right there for a moment. I'm going to step in here. Not at the tombstone, though. But I do get the sense, I don't know how to describe it. It's not necessarily a foreboding, but like of loss and regret.
Beyond that stretch of the cemetery was heavy construction and unsettling silence. But the urge to press forward grew stronger. The deeper he went, the air seemed to shift. He stopped at a weathered grave.
Yes, definitely here in this path.
You're being followed.
I'm being followed. That's what I just got on the Spirit app. And you know, I was thinking to myself as I was walking through here, I had the feeling of a cold spot. Well, this one's 1952. So that's not that old if you ask me as far as... So I'm going to try and find out when this cemetery was finally abandoned.
Chills ran through him. Legends claimed the cries of children echoed here, and suddenly it felt far too real. Then came the presence, a strange heaviness at his back. Brian turned, and there he was, an old man, pale and silent, lingering just out of reach.
Really incredible trees, and they've made such a beautiful park here. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I just got crazy chills. Crazy chills. Crazy chills. What did you just do? Did you touch me? Nothing. You just touched me? Was that you? Please don't do that again. That was not pleasant. I got a burning on the back of my neck right now. Okay, if that was you, please do not touch me again in that way. Oh man, I have to check when I get home. Man, this is crazy.
Every time Brian shifted his path, the man appeared again, watching him. No words, no movement, just that relentless, unsettling stare. He finally left the cemetery, but the feeling never lifted. That silent figure, it wasn't just in the cemetery anymore. This person was out in the South African bush, celebrating a birthday dinner on October 2nd. Picture this, a magical outdoor setup, just trees, lantern light, and the sound of nature. Everything felt peaceful. Until this person looked back at a photo from that night. At first glance, it seemed like a normal shot of friends around the dinner table, but then they spotted something. At the far end of the table stood a translucent figure, glowing, see-through. And the weirdest part? No one remembers anyone standing there when the picture was taken. No filters, no editing, straight from the phone, with only a few emojis covering faces for privacy. So now the question is, who or what was captured that night? Was it a ghost, or is there a logical explanation hiding in plain sight? A peaceful walk turned into a nightmare when a woman walker plunged off the trail, clung to the edge ging for her life to the edge.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. I got her by the foot. Oh, thank you so much. I can't pull up. No, Mom, it's gonna be okay. Thank you.
No, use your feet. Get back up here. You got this.
Okay, let me.
No, I'm not letting you go.
I got your other hand. Can you push your feet off? That's what I'm trying.
I'm gonna try to get under your armpit here. Ready?
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a big hoist here. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God. Okay.
You all right?
I'm fine, thank you.
Her only lifeline, her one-armed daughter, gritting her teeth to hold her on. The fear in both their faces was icy seconds from disaster. And then, out of nowhere, a man running the same course appeared and yanked her back onto the trail, converting catastrophic failure into a miracle. What would you have done then? Could you have waited, or would you panic? Was it fate that the man arrived at the correct time? This person was hiking along a dangerous trail in China when disaster almost struck. One wrong step and they nearly slipped off the edge of the cliff. The heart-stopping moment was caught on camera as they struggled to regain balance, clinging to life by just a second. Imagine standing there, the ground crumbling beneath your feet, nothing but a deadly drop below. What would you do? Would you freeze, fight to climb back, or accept the fall? Have you ever been in a moment where your life flashed before your eyes? Sometimes the difference between life and death is just one step. When they were climbing the mountain, they stumbled upon a black, open pit. Curiosity got the better of them. They bound a rope, tested it, and began going down. As the rope was spilling out, they saw something unbelievable.
Dude.
It's pretty spacious in there.
Yeah, it gets huge, and it just drops off straight down 150 feet. Oh. See ya, man. That is crazy. Oh. Wow. Look at this, guys. Oh, there's a whole stream down there. Oh.
The cave dropped about 1,500 feet directly downwards. But they went on. The air grew colder, the light vanished, until finally they hit firm ground. Much to their surprise, a hidden river flowed deep beneath the mountain, its water glowing faintly in the darkness, as if holding something back. Why would the cave be so deep? What is it down there? Is it just the river or something more mysterious? If you were the person who stood at the edge, would you climb on into the unknown? He was riding deep into the forest, the air quiet, the trees standing over him like unblinking sentinels, and then his tire slid and he crashed violently onto the ground. The quiet was broken by the noise of his crash. But here's what's really scary. Right after he crashed, he could have sworn he heard the sound of footsteps circling through the trees, although he was by himself. The forest grew darker, colder, and all the shadows seemed to stir to life. What did you suspect was lurking inside those woods? Was it just the woods playing tricks on you, or something else lurking, waiting to be discovered by him? If you were injured alone in the middle of nowhere, how would you get up knowing that something invisible is likely watching you? High above the ground, with nothing but clouds and thin air beneath, this man stepped onto the infamous Mount Huashan plank walk, often called the world's most dangerous hike. Just imagine it, a few wooden planks bolted to the side of a cliff, swaying slightly, held only by a chain clipped to his harness. One wrong step, one slip of the foot, and it's a 2,000-foot drop into nothingness. His hands trembled as he gripped the rock wall, inching forward, the wind howling in his ears. Every heartbeat felt louder than the echoes of the mountain itself. Would you dare take this walk? Could you trust those old planks with your life? Or would you freeze halfway across knowing there's no turning back? This person was alone in his house when it began. A voice calling his name. He had thought initially it was just in his head until the voice grew louder, clearer, and his own voice echoes him from the second floor of his house, his heart squeezed up tight, terror creeping in with every iteration. He stood there, straining to hear, his heart racing. The voice called out again, precisely like his, but deeper, colder.
I heard someone is calling me, but I'm alone in my home. Like मेरे घर में कोई भी नहीं है अभी. कौन? रोहान तुम हो? क्या हुआ? हाँ? तुम नीचे आओ. तुम नीचे आ जाओ रोहान. नीचे क्यों नहीं आना? क्यों? बकवास बंद करो अपनी. कौन था? बोलो. रूम में है ना कोई? मेरी एक बार अपने जेब में. Okay, bye. I don't know what it is, but okay, bye.
Who do you think was shouting his name in the house? A ghost, a demon, or something worse? What would you do if it were your own voice answering back to you in the shadows? Would you run out of the house, meet it head on, or pray that it stays behind? Because sometimes, the scariest voice you hear is your own. On a snow-covered mountain slope, the camera captures a hair-stopping moment. A man does an unexpected loss of control and goes zip-whizzing down toward a lethal cliff edge. Seconds before impact, a man in a yellow zip jacket appears out of nowhere. He dashes into the scene and tackles the ground, catching hold of the plummeting man's arm and holding tight for all he's worth. The wave sucks them both under, but he won't let go. Before you can say anything, in a split second, other people run there to help and pull the man back from certain doom. What would you do in that moment? Can you keep your grip? Imagine you're sleeping in a campground inside an abandoned building deep in the woods. It's dark, the air is cold, and you step out onto the balcony just to catch a glimpse of fresh air. And then you freeze. Deep in the dark row of trees, two shining eyes are staring at you. They don't blink. They don't change. They just stare.
The fuck is that? The fuck is that in the woods? Hello? Hello?
What would you do at that moment? Are those animal eyes, or something much more alien? Is it a ghost, a spirit, or some kind of unexplainable creature? Would you be strong enough to meet its stare, or run and hide inside? So I ask you, if you were there, alone in that silence, what would your brain let your mind believe those eyes belong to? It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon in the forest, but suddenly his tent shook violently. A bear was right outside, sniffing, pawing, and pressing against the fabric. Alone, trapped inside, his heart pounded louder than the rustling trees. Luckily, the bear wasn't there to hunt. It was just curious, circling, as if greeting him in its own terrifying way. After a few tense minutes, it wandered off, leaving him shaken but alive. But imagine if that bear had truly meant business. What do you think would have happened? Would he have stood a chance to fight back, or would it have been over in seconds? And would you ever risk camping alone after an encounter like this? He walked slowly to the riverbank, the moonlight silvering ripples on the water. But then, something strange arrested his notice. A conclave of tortoises had formed, a faultless one in the shallow part of the river. Inside the ring were 3 small tortoises who remained still, as if under guard or siege. The water about them seemed to ripple in rhythms, as if some hidden ceremony was being carried out. He remained stationary, whether to advance one step more or turn tail. What was he doing here? Were the tortoises protecting the smaller ones, or up to something mysterious? Would you take the risk and step in, or simply wait outside in concealment, if in his place? This was supposed to be a peaceful journey, but it turned into a nightmare. To begin with, in the dead of night, there came a massive branch from a tree falling straight on top of his tent, ripping it wide apart. Heart racing, he got out of there, thankful to be alive. But fate wasn't finished yet. On the trek down from the mountain, he slipped on a rock and heard a sharp crack. He had ripped one of the ligaments in his ankle. Pain ran through his system with every step, and then suddenly the trip was a battle to even escape alive. Has there ever been a trip that went completely wrong for you? Would you have still kept pushing through the pain that he did, or would you have pulled over and waited for help? The shock of his lifetime came the day he chose to hike alone. What was initially an adventure turned into a nightmarish experience. Far in the middle of a snow forest, the silence was creepy. No voices, no tracks, just the sound of his boots crunching into the white ground. Then, in an instant, he was lost. He wandered in a circle for over an hour, looking for a path down, each tree the same, each trail a dead end. The cold nipped at his skin, and terror screamed louder with every second. Would you ever dare to hike by yourself in this kind of weather? If you were stranded like he was, would you keep traveling or stay still and hope to be rescued? It was while on a solo hike in the mountains of Cabo San Lucas that something unusual caught his eye. In the distance, coming outside of the rock, was a giant figure, too large, too fast, and too strange to be human. Its shadow was elongated in the sun, its movements deliberate, almost as if it knew it was being watched. He froze, heart pounding. Could it be? The locals talk about legends and whispers, but there he stood, staring at what looked like the Mexican Sasquatch. Do you think these creatures actually exist, or was it just a trick of the light? If you were in his shoes, would you grab a camera, get a closer look, or run in the other direction? He walked deep into the woods and climbed deep into a tree, hidden in the leaves. Down below, a lone coyote was quiet, watchful, and wandered the clearing. From up high, he whispered, just to play tricks on his mind, to test if the animal would hear him. The yote hesitated, twitching ears, sniffing nose, attempting to find the sound. What do you think the coyote would do if it realized the sound was coming from right above its head? And what if he had hissed from below in the woods? Would the coyote pounce, creep, or simply vanish into the night? It was supposed to be a quiet night of camping, but it was the night of horror in his life. The fire was low, the forest quiet, when abruptly a voice pierced the blackness. The cry rang out through the trees, rasping, ghostly, and not quite human. He remained still where he was, his heart pounding, frozen between fear and morbid fascination. Was it really a person in distress, or something trying to coax him out? The voice kept calling, moving closer and closer, like it could identify his exact location on the ground. What would you do, staying hidden in the tent? This family was out enjoying a peaceful picnic, laughter filling the air, when out of nowhere, a wild bear wandered straight into their campsite. Without hesitation, the bear went straight for the food table, sniffing, pawing, and helping itself like it owned the place. The family froze, hearts pounding, but they reacted perfectly calm, quiet, and slowly backed away to give the animal space. Thankfully, no one was harmed, though the bear clearly had a feast. What do you think was going through their minds at that moment? Fear, shock, or disbelief? If you were there, would you try to scare the bear away, grab the food, or just let it eat and hope it leaves peacefully? What an odd encounter this was. He was deep in the forest, creeping stealthily, when suddenly something shifted. Between the trees, a huge, shadowy form moved steadily, its massive body unfamiliar to him in any way. His own breath was short in his throat. The creature walked deliberately, crushing footsteps through the leaves, but never once looking back in his direction.
What in the world is that thing?
Others say what he saw might have been Bigfoot, while others would call it something else entirely. You were the one who just so happened to be there. Would you find it and go get the truth, or run in the other direction? Do you think creatures like Bigfoot exist? Are they nothing more than myths around campfires? While hiking deep in the mountains with his granddad, this YouTuber, young Utah rancher, suddenly realized they weren't alone. From the shadows, an aggressive mountain lion emerged, its eyes locked, its body low, muscles tense, stalking every step. Fear rushed through them as the predator crept closer, silent but deadly.
Get back.
He raised the gun in his hand and fired a shot into the air, hoping the blast would scare it away. But the echo faded, and the beast didn't flinch. Instead, it moved closer, slowly and deliberately, as if the sound only made it hungrier. Can you imagine being in that moment, staring into the eyes of a predator that refuses to back down? What would you do? Run or fight? Haunted Finders posted this on his page. One night, while he was driving alone, he felt an icy breeze crawl up his neck, followed by the sound of breathing from the back seat. In the mirror, a shadowy silhouette sat motionless, watching.
Driving home, next minute I feel this ice cold like breeze go up the back of my neck and across my face. And when I say it was cold, it was like ice cold. And then I suddenly got these weird like shivers and goosebumps where I just felt like, you know, when you have that knowing that there's something there, there's something behind me. And I was literally frozen with my eyes facing forward on the road. And I remember just this overwhelming sense of fear. And then I heard what sounded like somebody breathing in my back seat. And honestly, I can't explain how terrified I was in the moment.
Later, during a spirit box session, a chilling voice whispered, "Can you hear me?" The air inside the car turned freezing as he started having bad feelings. Suddenly, a loud bang shook the vehicle, and footsteps echoed in the darkness.
Listen again, I'll enhance this for you guys as well. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I take it that you're in the car now. I tell you what, I really have got a really bad feeling. Someone just hit my car. Yo, someone just hit my car. Something just hit the car. Can you do that again? Did you just hit my car? Yo. That was a massive like boof on my car. Footsteps. That was footsteps.
He was shocked and terrified as he was there alone. While out hunting deep in the wilderness, this person stumbled upon something unexpected. A young wolf, barely 4 months old, lying silently in the grass as if asleep. At first it seemed harmless, until he whistled.
Guten Tag. Guten Tag.
The moment the whistle cut through the night, the young wolf's eyes snapped open, unnaturally bright, almost glowing against the tall, bushy grass. Without hesitation, it leapt to its feet and darted into the thick brush, disappearing in an instant as if it had never been there at all. But here's the unsettling part. Young wolves are never truly alone. If that pup was there, where was the pack? Would you dare to keep walking deeper into the forest, knowing predators might be circling unseen? Explorando al Limite 2.0 shares their experience at the haunted cemetery. In the dead of night, this person wandered through a haunted cemetery, camera in hand. That's when he saw it, a shadowy figure of a girl, standing still among the graves.
She's a girl and she's wearing pigtails. Here she is. Here she is. Hello. You can't see her face. You can't see her face. She's literally shaking, son of a...
As he zoomed in, the image grew clearer, but also more unsettling. Her posture was wrong, her face hidden, and yet he could feel her eyes locked on him from a distance. Heart pounding, he tried to follow, but within moments the figure slipped into the darkness, vanishing without a trace, as if the earth itself swallowed her whole. So what was she? A restless spirit of the cemetery? A dark creature feeding on fear? And if you were standing there, would you dare to keep searching? A YouTuber, Kenny of all trades, shared this weird post. This man and his dog, Toby, went out camping, but something strange happened. Out of nowhere, Toby froze, his eyes locked on something up the road. He growled, ears raised, refusing to move forward.
What is it? What, Toby? Come on. I got no clue what he sees, but something up the road has got his attention. What's going on, Toby? He always sticks by my side. I have no idea what he sees up there, but maybe we won't go that way. We'll go back. Come on, Toby. Yeah, he don't like it over there.
Normally, Toby never leaves his owner's side, but this time, he pulled back, desperate to avoid whatever was ahead. The man tried to push forward, but Toby refused, tugging him back toward the camper as if warning him not to take another step. Whatever the dog sensed out there, it wasn't good. The man decided not to risk it. They turned back, shaken, leaving the mystery of what waited in the dark unknown. Would you have gone forward or trusted the dog? Novus Wild Camper posted this on his YouTube channel. He set out for a stealthy woodland camp, expecting a calm night in nature. At first, everything felt normal, but soon the forest turned unsettling. He thought he heard someone nearby, strange footsteps echoing through the trees. In the dead of night, heavy thuds echoed around his hammock. Rocks and branches suddenly dropped from above with no warning, landing dangerously close. When he checked, he found objects on the ground that hadn't been there before, almost as if something or someone was throwing them.
But the weirdest thing was, the rain started to die down. So it was just a tiny pitter-patter. And suddenly by my hammock, a massive, massive thud hits the ground and bounces. And I jumped up, unzipped it, put my torch on, and there's a rock on the floor that wasn't there when I went to bed.
By morning, the tension only grew. Even as he packed up, branches crashed unnaturally near him.
I'm under my tarp, packing up my quilt, and there's this crash behind me, and literally this doesn't land coming down, it bounces towards me. It hit the floor and was still rolling towards me.
Would you dare to stay? This encounter was shared by Rambling On YouTube. This hiker set out on what seemed like just another mountain trail, but nature had other plans. The river was swollen and impossible to cross. Every option was a deadly risk. By the time he reached his tent, he was soaked to the bone, the storm outside screaming like voices clawing at the canvas.
I had to take off my waterproof jacket before I got in because It was absolutely saturated.
As he settled down, drinking a cup of tea, the breeze kept spanking his tent as if it was not strong enough.
The wind and the rain keep blowing in and kind of smacking us around a little bit, you know, just kind of coming in, spanking you in, running off again. That's what it feels like anyway. Just to let you know that, you know, it's still kicking off a little bit.
The storm raged on, lightning flashing, the earth shaking. Alone in the chaos, would you dare camp, knowing a storm like this could strike without warning? Strike without warning? Reliquias du Sul, a YouTuber, posted this scary encounter. This person wandered into an old cemetery, a place where time itself seemed frozen, the air heavy with silence. As he explored, something caught his eye. One of the ancient tombs stood partly open, its stone cracked with age. Curious, he stepped closer, and what he saw inside left him frozen in shock. A human skull, along with scattered bones, lay hidden within the shadows of the tomb.
This is something that draws a lot of attention. Look at this here, man. Why is this here? Why is this? You're crazy. We find so many things in this cemetery that are off axis here, look.
But the question is chilling. How did they get there? Who placed them inside, and why were they left to rest in such a disturbing way? He was left in complete shock, unable to comprehend what he had just witnessed. This video was uploaded to Rock Country Outdoors. These guys went hiking deep in the mountains when something caught their eye, and what they saw left them completely shocked. Standing at the edge of a cliff, they noticed something unnatural carved into the rock face. Hidden in the shadows was a cage, built into the mountain itself, stretching deep inside like some kind of prison.
Oh, it's dark in there. Spooky. And these handprints right here. Holy smokes. Look at that. All right, we got light, so. Oh, there we go. That is deep. Crazy cool, though.
The sight raised terrifying questions. How was it even possible to construct something like that in such a remote place? And more importantly, who built it? And what was it used for? The silence of the mountain only made the discovery more disturbing, as if the cage still held the echoes of whatever had once been trapped inside. This investigation was shared by EWU Crew on YouTube. This is the haunting case of Warren Haggard, who vanished in 2014 after leaving home in his blue Honda Civic. 10 years later, the desert still whispers his story. His abandoned car was discovered deep in Coyote Canyon, miles from civilization. Strangely, it was turned back toward the road, as if Warren had tried to escape but never made it out. The investigator later stumbled upon his remains, just fragments of bones, a shoe, and scattered clothing, all hidden in a remote canyon where no one had searched before. As investigators combed the site, they uncovered more bones and clothing fragments, each clue painting a chilling picture of Warren's final moments.
Up the creek, we started to notice bones scattered all over.
It's a bone right there. So we got a little bone right here. This is like a finger right here. I'm not going to touch any of this because you're not supposed to. When you find this stuff, you just got to let them know and they can come out and get it.
When we got even closer to where Warren was found, we noticed clothing fragments as well.
A whole bunch of more clothing right here. Bones and clothes all over this area. We got clothing over here. I don't know if it's picking it up.
Interestingly, when we checked the image history of Warren's exact location on Google Earth, we could not see him in any of the photos taken in 2015 or later. However, we did notice that the brush surrounding the area began growing rapidly after 2014.
Then came the most shocking discovery. His wallet, with his ID still inside, was buried beneath the brush. The question here is, what really happened to this man? Kuba Misteri shared this terrifying camp experience he had. Kuba set out to explore a forest whispered to be cursed, a place where villagers spoke of victims, strange cries, and ghostly figures. He pitched his tent, but from the start, an uneasy chill followed him. After settling down, a piercing sound shattered the silence like a woman crying.
Astag Farula Halazim. Did you hear that? Hello. It's like there's something inside, guys.
The voice grew closer, echoing through the bamboo trees. His camera shook as he begged whatever it was to reveal itself. Moments later, a white figure appeared, floating across the darkness before vanishing into the trees. He chased it, but it dissolved into thin air. He was scared as he was breathing heavily. Back inside his tent, the attacks worsened. As he was about to sleep, he heard a sudden movement around his tent. Something hit his tent, and he was scared. That was really terrifying. But what was disturbing his peaceful camp? On 31st August 2025, Dave Explores shared this video on his YouTube channel. In the Nevada desert, Dave set out to explore the long-forgotten old-timer mine. Along the way, he stumbled upon hidden operations no map had ever shown. Rotting cabins, crumbling shafts, and roads that led only to dead ends. Climbing a brutal zigzag trail, he reached the Fillmore mine. What remained were eerie, collapsed tunnels and rusted machinery, as if time itself had sealed away its secrets. Further up, he discovered a cabin overtaken by trees, its roof caving, plants growing where families once lived. Every corner whispered of abandonment. Finally, Old-Timer Mine revealed itself, carved into the cliffside. Shafts plunged into darkness, unsafe signs nailed everywhere, and ruins that seemed ready to crumble at any second.
But we made it, and this was the bunkhouse, so I just gotta go quick and go inside. Not a whole lot. And then the second section, that's it. All right, so that's the bunkhouse and a couple other things, ore chutes.
At nearly 10,000 feet, surrounded by endless mines and silence, Dave realized this mountain was a graveyard of forgotten lives, an entire world lost to time. If you were the one, would you try going further, knowing there are mines? On July 2nd, 2023, a solo camper from Ireland set up his tent for a peaceful night in the Galtee Mountains. After dinner and sunset, he settled into his tent, ready to sleep. But around 10 p.m., things took a strange turn.
That's it. I'm gonna get some sleep and I'll see you in the morning. Good night. I know I'm not in focus, but I can hear two men talking. I have no idea what they're doing. Do I go out? I have no idea. I don't know if I should go out or not.
Moments later, the voices faded, and an eerie silence fell over the mountain. Then he spotted them, two men making their way down the slope.
There's two men coming down the mountain. There's no way they haven't seen the tent, because when I was coming down all the guy lines and everything were just lit up because they're all reflective. So they've definitely seen the tent. And obviously I had my lights on inside here. It was only when I heard them talking that I shut everything off. So hopefully they just carry on and finish their night hike or whatever they're doing.
His tent was impossible to miss. The reflective guy lines and the glow of his lantern made it stand out in the darkness. He quickly killed the lights, hoping they'd just pass by on a late-night hike. Not daring to unzip the tent, he stayed completely still. Eventually, he saw the men again, this time moving along a steep, off-trail ridge in total darkness. He never figured out what they were doing, but the encounter left him uneasy. He made it through the night unharmed, yet one question still lingers. What were those men really doing in the mountains at that hour? September 23rd, 2020, filmmaker Master Hughes was deep in a remote mountain forest, miles away from civilization. The woods were silent, the trees thick, when he suddenly spotted movement in the distance, a dark figure slipping between the trees.
I've got my little light jacket on, but I'm seeing movement in the woods. I can't tell what it is. It's really big, and it appears to be very dark in color. We're going to try to ease up there to it and see if we can get a picture.
The next day, Hughes returned to the same trail, and what he found was chilling.
And we're up here in the mountains shooting a film. And yesterday we were coming up this trail, and I heard it, and couldn't see anything. But as we crossed over the next hump in this trail, this is what we found.
Pressed into the dirt, just beyond a ridge, was a fresh bear print.
Now, for those of you to know, that is a bear print. And so apparently he was on the trail just above us and we couldn't see him because of the humps in the trail and everything, these breaks. So anyway, that's some of the risk you take when you're out in the middle of nowhere shooting a nature video or some other type of film out in the middle of nowhere. You got to be careful.
It was a sobering reminder of the risk that comes with venturing into the wilderness. Out there, silence can be deceiving, and danger can be only a few steps away without you even realizing it. That bear had been dangerously close the entire time. On July 27th, 2025, Adam and Ryan from Paranormal Essex set out to capture daytime footage inside a historic World War I fort in Essex, a place long whispered to be guarded by the restless spirit of a soldier. As Adam ducked behind a wall to prank Ryan, the silence of the tunnels was broken by the crunch of dry leaves under heavy footsteps. Then came another set. The steps stopped directly beside him, but no one was there. Confused, Adam looked up only to spot Ryan far off in the distance, nowhere near the entrance. With leaves carpeting the ground, no one could move without being heard.
Hooray! Where'd he go? What? Ryan? Ryan? Fuck off! No way! Where was you? No fucking way. I'll just come over the hedge of that. Come down, tried to scare ya. Could hear footsteps, bruv, I swear to God, yeah? And I thought it was you walking towards me, yeah? You watching me, why the fuck am I so zoomed in? Yeah? What? I heard footsteps of you walking towards me. I thought it was you. I jumped out, went, bah-bah! And you weren't there.
The chilling question lingered in their minds. Had they just crossed paths with a soldier who still protects the fort from something darker? On August 5th, 2025, Andrew Clifton was out for a quiet walk with his dog in Malvern Hills, Western England, casually filming in slow motion on his phone. "Freddy, steady," he muttered as his pup trotted along. But later, as he replayed the footage, something strange caught his eye. A mysterious object streaking across the frame. It moved far too fast to be pinned down, and its unusual height and flight path ruled out simple explanations like an arrow. To this day, its origin remains a mystery. No one can explain what Andrew captured. While hiking deep into the woods, something strange appeared nailed to a tree, and it instantly gave chills. It wasn't a warning sign, or a map, or even some random carving. Instead, it was a piece of cardboard, written in thick black marker, with a message that felt more like a desperate cry for help. It read, "Why did you steal my shoes? Now I have no shoes, and now my feet hurt and bleed. I am poor. Leave money. I watches you." At first, it almost sounded like a joke, but the more the word sank in, the scarier it became. Imagine being miles into the forest, surrounded by silence, and stumbling across a note like this. Someone out there claimed their shoes were stolen, their feet were bleeding, and, most chilling of all, they were watching. The handwriting was uneven, almost frantic, as if the writer was angry, scared, or maybe both. Some hikers would probably laugh it off and keep moving, but others might feel that icy thought creep in. What if the person really is hiding out here, waiting for someone to pass by? So now the real question is, if you were hiking and found a sign like this, would you keep going deeper into the trail? Or would you turn back before whoever wrote it showed up? A Reddit user shared a chilling encounter after wandering down a secluded trail. At first glance, he froze. On the ground ahead was a shape that looked disturbingly like a body. There was no odor, but the outline was so human, it sent a rush of dread through him. Summoning the courage to get closer, he discovered it wasn't a corpse at all, but an abandoned camp. The strange part? It wasn't the usual clutter of tarps and clothing, only children's blankets and stuffed animals scattered around. One blanket was even tightly wrapped around several toys, almost as if someone had tucked them in. That's when he noticed a truck parked nearby, and suddenly the whole setup felt too intentional to dismiss. Even knowing it wasn't a body, the eerie scene stuck with him long after. Alone in the depths of a remote forest, a camper was jolted awake in the dead of night by unsettling noises cutting through the silence. At first, he brushed it off as some wild animal passing nearby, but the sounds didn't fade. They grew louder, closer, and seemed to echo from every direction. With the forest swallowed in pitch-black darkness and no soul for miles, an unnerving truth settled in. He was utterly alone. He stayed inside his tent until sunrise, restless and wide awake. To this day, whatever stalked the forest that night remains a chilling mystery. While hiking deep in the woods, one Reddit user stumbled across something chilling on the side of a tree. At first glance, it looked like the aftermath of a giant predator's attack, and the sight alone was enough to send shivers down his spine. But when he shared the discovery online, the explanation turned out to be far less monstrous, yet still undeniably eerie. According to experts, raptors can sometimes die suddenly, their powerful tendons locking their claws in place as if frozen in time. In this case, the rest of the bird had already been scavenged, leaving only its legs clinging tightly to the trunk. The result? A haunting reminder of nature's brutal reality. A Reddit user was out for a casual walk with their partner when they snapped a quick picture to show just how far behind they were. At first glance, nothing seemed strange, just an ordinary shot. But when they looked closer later, something chilling stood out. In the photo, a figure appears ahead of them on the path. The odd part? The partner swears no one was there, and the user doesn't remember seeing a soul either. The way the light reflects off its hair and arm makes it look completely solid, undeniably real. Yet at the time, the path was empty. To this day, they have no explanation for who or what was captured in that frame. A hiker strolling down a quiet trail thought he'd struck gold. A rare shot of a fox and a deer sharing the same frame. But when he looked closer, he realized something far stranger had slipped into the background. Faint and distant, a tall, hairy figure stood among the trees. It didn't look quite human. Yet it wasn't clearly anything else either. Too far away to confirm, the eerie sight left the photo shrouded in mystery. While hiking through a rocky trail with another person's son, something unexpected appeared wedged between the stones, and it stopped everyone cold. At first, it just looked like a pale, round rock. But as another person's son leaned closer, the truth revealed itself. It wasn't a rock at all. It was a skull. The way it sat between the boulders made it feel even creepier, like it had been deliberately placed there, hidden away where only the brave, or the unlucky, might find it. The hollow eye sockets stared back, and the cracks across the bone almost looked like they were whispering a story that had been long forgotten. Imagine being out in the open air, enjoying a normal day on the trail, only to stumble across something like this. One moment, it's just hiking and laughter, and the next, you're staring into the remains of what once was a living person. For a 9-year-old, it must have been both fascinating and terrifying all at once. A man was on his way to a quiet village for the night when he noticed a figure standing by the roadside. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary local, but the closer he drove, the stranger it felt. A chill ran down his spine, and instinct screamed at him to leave. Slamming his foot on the gas, he tore down the road, heart hammering, desperate to put as much distance between himself and that figure as possible. 4 friends huddled together for a quick selfie, laughing as the camera clicked. But later, when they scrolled back through the photos, their smiles quickly faded. Behind them stood a woman in a frilly dress, her long black hair cascading over her shoulders. Her face, however, was nothing but a strange blur, impossible to recognize. None of them remembered seeing her that night, and when they asked around, not a single guest admitted to knowing who she was. While fly fishing near an old cemetery in England, a man noticed something odd drifting in the river. A small, weathered doll. Curious, he reached out and pulled it from the water, snapping a few photos for a closer look. The moment he held it, an uneasy feeling crept over him. Finding a doll this close to a graveyard felt wrong, almost sinister. His mind immediately spiraled to curses, dark rituals, and black magic. One thing was certain, taking it home wasn't an option. In fact, even touching it might have been a mistake. While this person was hiking through the tall mountains of Kyrgyzstan, he was shocked by a thunderous noise. The ground trembled as a mass of snow tumbled down the mountain. Ice and snow fell with merciless intensity, tearing down everything in its way. Instead of panicking, he kept his cool, wedging himself tightly beneath a shelf of rock, heart pounding as torrents of white rushed past. Minutes felt like hours until the commotion finally died down, making way for silence, and the sight of his breath in the cold air. He had just survived nature's raw fury. What would you have done in his place? Run, freeze, or hide? Would you be that calm staring up at a moving wall of snow? And would you ever have the courage to hike those mountains again after going through something like that? Two lads were cycling through the forest, wheels squelching through leaves, laughing between the trees, when a colossal bear stepped out of nowhere.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oi, 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 oi. Get back.
It was rushing at them, its roar shaking the stillness. Panic gripped them, but one of the lads acted fast, shouting, waving, and being able to scare the bear off before it was close to them. The danger was over in an instant, but their hearts were pounding away. Now imagine this. If he hadn't reacted immediately, what do you think would have occurred? Would they have been able to outrun a bear on their bicycle? Or would the forest have turned into their worst nightmare? Do you think you'd be calm in such a situation? Or would fear completely override your better judgment? After an exhausting, long mountain climb, he finally made it back to where he had left his car alone on a solitary mountain road. But as he approached, he stood frozen. There, stretched out beside his car as if it belonged to it, was a mountain lion. Its sun-flicked golden eyes, tail switching lazily, muscles coiled with latent strength. He knew one step wrong and inquisitiveness would turn into a hazard. The car, his path to freedom, sat only steps away, but wholly out of the question. What would you do in that case? Ride it out, try to scare it off, or venture in closer? And do you think the mountain lion was standing guard over the vehicle, or standing watch over him? A couple headed out on a walk through the wild beauty of the Everglades, air thick and still, when they spotted something awful: alligators. Dozens of them, half submerged along the beaches, their muzzles just high enough above to be seen, watching, not charging, just waiting, still as statues of danger.
You should be one of those people that hike with the big gigantic stick, because that's what the people who are scared of gators do. Just keep walking normal.
That is giant.
Yeah.
The couple softly counted them one at a time, each step more hesitant than the last. But the thought gnawed at them. What if they or some of them decided to attack? Out here, it would not be funny whatsoever. Would you feel courageous to continue predators closing in on you? Do you think the gators were steering clear of them or patiently waiting for the perfect opportunity to pounce? And how many would you count before returning? He was bicycling down the serpentine cliffside, gusts pounding him, rock eroding at the edges. Suddenly it was happening. His tires slipped, and he went careening over the edge of the mountain.
Ok, ci sono. Aiuto!
In the instant of raw fear, fate intervened. A cluster of trees clinging to the cliffside snagged him, holding him fast, saving his life. Pumping with terror, he realized how close he had come to falling into the depths below. What would have happened to him if there had not been those trees? Would he have stood any chance whatsoever? Or was this just pure destiny? Would you ever ride this close to the edge if one wrong move would mean losing everything? Sometimes survival is nothing but grace disguised as luck. He stepped into the haunted house, the earth groaning underfoot, the stillness thick in the air. On the wall, contrasting with the cracked paint, bloody fingerprints were smudged fresh, glistening. Every sense yelled at him to go away, yet curiosity held him spellbound. And then, just a few meters ahead of him, a shape materialized, dark, misshapen, with a single glittering eye trained on him.
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un encore qui habite ici?
l'état de la cave. C'est quoi ça?
It drew closer, faster, as if to attack. His courage lost, he screamed and made a run for the door, heart racing like never before. What do you think that figure was? Ghost? A demon? Or something else entirely? Would you have stayed to discover the truth or run away just like him? Fear is the price curiosity often demands. This man was prowling through the forest, quietly probing, when his ears were caught by something amiss, a group of toadstools growing near the base of some cottonwoods. Curious, he crept closer to inspect. But no sooner did he bend than a harsh, strange sound erupted from within the woods.
And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
It was not man's, but not that of any creature he was familiar with either. The scream was shrill, ghostly, like a warning. His heart constricted, a chill sliding down his spine. He turned immediately and departed in a rush, pounding heart. Was the scream protecting the mushrooms, or was it calling him deeper into the forest? What do you think the sound was being made by? An animal? A spirit? Or something unknown? Some friends were hiking, a laughter refrain ringing out along the forest trail until they suddenly stopped. In front of them lay a creepy clearing, the air colder, thicker, as if whatever dwelled here did not desire to witness them. In the middle were strange shapes, mounded figures covered in cloth, placed as if the deceased. Bushes surrounded the area like walls, trapping the scene in macabre stillness. In broad daylight, it was frightening enough. Imagine what this place would be like at night. Would you move further in or turn around immediately? Do you think this was merely discarded trash or an area where spirits reside? Not every road in the woods is intended to be taken. 3 friends embarked on a midnight hike, joking, snapping pictures, and filming in the moon's dim light. All of this was exciting until the forest grew quiet. A strange voice called out in the darkness. It wasn't clear whether it was a cry for help, mumbling, or chanting, but it sent shivers down their spines.
I'm going first.
Oh, nah, go first. I'm about to take a picture. You gotta get lower than that.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh, it's about to catch something. Y'all ready to go back?
Their giggles stopped and were replaced with nervous silence. Fear took hold of them as the voice drew nearer, as if it knew where they were. What do you believe this voice is? A lost spirit, a ghost, or something evil? Would you continue hiking or flee for your life? For him, the edge of a cliff wasn't danger, it was a stage. Every stunt was a dance with gravity. A reckless game he thought he could always win, flirting with danger as though it were a second skin. Today, though, his luck eventually ran out. A misstep, a stumble, and in a flash, he plummeted over the side. The fall was unforgiving, branches scratching at him as he crashed into the thick bush below. Miraculously, he survived, shaken, but alive. The cliff that had felt like a stage had nearly been his grave. What drives someone to risk life for adrenaline? Would you have the guts to try a stunt where one miscalculation and it's game over? And will he go back to that cliff again? He was trudging cautiously with his friend on the thin mountain trail when, in an instant, his foot came out from under him. One moment, he was on the trail. The next, he was over, falling down the cliffside. Just as it looked like he would fall to the rocky base, the trees broke his fall, branches arresting his move toward the ground. His friend's frantic calls echoed in the mountains as he clung, shaken but alive. What if there hadn't been all those trees? Would there have been a chance of survival? Would you still hike such dangerous trails after witnessing something like this? And do you think luck played a part, or something more? He set out to demonstrate his courage, spending the night in a haunted mansion that all warned him against. First, quietness, broken windows, creaking floorboards, and the cold wind of the evening. But as he settled, about to fall asleep, the mood shifted. A shape began to materialize in the corner, tall, white, ghostly outline glaring straight at him. Its vacant eyes glowed with a faint light, and the room chilled immediately. Afraid, he sprang out of his bed, pounding heart, wanting to escape. What did he see that evening? A haunted spirit or his own wild imagination? Would you sleep in the house? And what if the ghost rode home with him? Sometimes walls don't hold secrets. They hold the dead. He was at home filming offhand when the camera picked up something strange, a surreal movement in the corner of the room. He didn't think twice until he headed upstairs and realized he wasn't alone. A shadowy figure lurked behind him, following his every step. Then, out of the blue, a door closed seconds before creaking open on its own. From the opening, something began to peer out, its shape barely distinguishable, its presence heavy in the air. What do you think the shadow was? A demon? A ghost? Or something far worse? Would you have stayed to confront it or left the house immediately? And what if it wasn't just waiting, but watching? Sometimes the most terrifying intruder isn't flesh and blood, it's already in your home. He broke into the empty home, the silence and dust thick in the air, when he saw something.
Bismillah. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا 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 إله إلا الله.
In the dim light, a goat seemed to be moving while standing still. His heart raced as the head of the goat shifted slightly, its body trembling as if it were alive. Horror gripped him, but curiosity pulled him closer. Step by step, the movement stopped. And to his shock, it was not alive at all. It was nothing more than an old, tattered teddy goat lying there as though it had been left there deliberately. But what was making it move? A breeze trick? Ghost energy? Or something even stranger? If you'd been in his shoes, would you have had the guts to touch it or run before it moved again? It was around 1 a.m., the dead of night, when he noticed a suspicious motion outside his house. He first thought that it was the wind, or maybe an animal. But curiosity got the better of him, and he stepped closer to the window.
Someone. Come on, see. What's that?
To his greatest surprise, hovering in the air was a ghostly figure, its form pale, its presence cold. Suddenly, it began to float towards him, inch by inch, as if it knew he was looking. Horror ran through his veins. He screamed, shut the door, and hoped it would not follow. What do you think that was? A troubled spirit, or something darker? And if you were he, would you have had the nerve to keep on looking? not every shadow belongs to the living. The dashcam recorded it all, a normal drive along a serene road, trees flanking both sides, nothing unusual. And then, without warning, this ginormous bear came careening across the road, smashing into the side with sheer force. The driver gripped the steering wheel for dear life, his heart racing, but did not brake. He continued, the car pressing ahead until the bear backed away. But what if he just stopped there? What do you think would have happened? Might the bear have busted in or something worse? What made the attack happen in the first place? Was it the sound of the motor, the odor of food inside, or pure territorial instinct? Would you keep driving on or lock up in fear as the monster attacked?